Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Stogie Geek Show, episode 69.
Dennis. I need my Jimmy Jam.
Nice.
Should see the dancing girl.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of the Stogie Geek Show, broadcasting live again from Mr. J. Havana's Smoke Shop. I've got the regular cast and crew here with me, as well as some special guests. First, to my left, Mr. Mark Jr. is here. Welcome, Mark Jr.
What up, guys?
Checking his sports scores.
Scores on the
His
game.
scores on the game.
Yeah,
the football game.
Boston Bruins
It's
winning.
the Bruins. It's the Bruins.
Mr. Stogie Santa is sitting across from me.
Good evening, everybody.
On the lines via Skype, Mr. William Cooper is with us. Welcome, Will.
Hey, everybody. How's it going tonight?
And now our special guest, Mr. Paul Joyle, is here joining us tonight. Welcome, Paul.
How you doing, guys?
And our smoke of the week is actually from our very special guest of the week. So I'm going to turn it over to Antonio Lamb of Rionado Cigars. Welcome to the show, Antonio.
Thanks, guys. How are you? Thanks for having me on. I really
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Thanks for joining us. And I wanted to start out by having you actually introduce the cigar that we're smoking. I'm smoking obviously the Rionado, and it's the Grand Empire Reserve Petite Lancero size. Is what almost all of us have here in the studio. So why don't you tell a little bit about the blend and the size and the kind of history behind it?
Sure. This is the Grand Empire Reserve blend, which was derived from the 555, originally released a year ago. So we just recently launched the full-fledged line, and we made the first size, which is what you're smoking now, the Grand Empire Reserve Petit Lancero. It's a 6x38, all Nicaraguan Puro, and this one's limited. We're only making a number of boxes that's like 250. Very, very special, and it's a medium to medium full. Ramps up really nicely. It's got some smooth flavors on it, some cocoa and stuff. We've been getting phenomenal responses on it. The reorders are coming very quickly. The stock is very depleted right now, so we're happy with that, the way it's been moving. And we rolled out a couple of other sizes as well, a Corona Gorda in the blend, a Toro box press, and we're also going to be coming out with the 6x60, which we could talk about a little bit later. And these new sizes are all 10 counts, which we're really excited about. Our first time doing that, so
Yeah, 10 counts tend to earn the box-worthy rating more so than boxes with larger amounts of cigars in them, right?
Right.
Can you tell us a little more about the blend, about the plant, about the primings, anything about it? Or is that top secret? I know.
Most of it is really kind of like kept on the factory side and stuff like that. I mean,
That's understandable.
Yeah, the things we like to reveal is that it is an all Nicaraguan Puro. It's a Habano Select Maduro wrapper on it, which we put on here, which is really gives it that little bit of sweetness that we were looking for to marry up with this blend. And the blend is derived from our core line blend, but we added some really tasty aged Nicaraguan filler in there. And then we put on this delicious wrapper that we thought was really special. And the other thing is our signature fermentation, which also I can't reveal what we do, but we naturally ferment it in such a way that makes it really smooth for Puro, and it's been our signature mark from day one, and it's gone over really well.
Every interview, we like to ask our guests questions that they are not willing to answer in terms about their tobacco and process. That's how we kind of test the limits a little bit, and we did that right here in the beginning. So thanks.
I was going to say that, yeah.
Yeah, thanks for playing along, Antonio.
Not a problem.
No, right off the bat, does anyone got a nice spice on the retrohale?
Yeah, absolutely.
I tell you, the retrohale is really nice.
Thank you. Yeah.
So,
nice.
Antonio, how did you get started in the cigar industry?
Well, that's a funny thing because I have a background in graphic design and art direction. I've been doing it for over 15 years. So I actually went into a cigar shop to pitch some business for website design, and as I'm waiting, they hand me a cigar, and I start, smoking cigars from there, and I kind of fell into it, and I just fell in love with it, and I've always been an entrepreneur. I've always wanted to have my own business, so I had a vision for the blend that I wanted to pursue, and I kind of like was in Nicaragua a couple months after that, after I got myself together with my business plan and stuff like that. I went for it aggressively. That's pretty much, in a nutshell, kind of like what happened.
So who do you work with to help manufacture your cigars?
That would be the Flor de Gonzalez brand owned, which is Yadi Gonzalez, and they own a small factory in Condega, Nicaragua called Agros.
So so now did you how heavily did you participate in the blending? Are you the one that helping select the tobaccos and smoking the samples as you go?
Right, I was heavily involved in the blending, and we took it where I kind of had the vision. I mean, it's kind of weird, but I kind of like knew exactly what I wanted to have as the end result, and getting there was. I mean, I have no history in the tobacco industry. None of my family members smoke cigars or any of that kind of thing. I always tell people I kind of go with my gut and within a lot of instinct. So that's kind of where that came from. But yeah, the blending.
Does your family think you're crazy? Like
Yeah.
cigars? What's up with that?
Yeah, a little bit. I would say yeah. My parents are very traditional. My father is a lawyer, and so they thought this was coming out of left field. So
Right.
my psychiatrist also thinks it's kind of weird, but what are you gonna do?
So, talk to me about your process for blending. How do you select the different tobaccos? What kind of sizes do you roll? At what points do you smoke the different cigars that will ultimately become the blend?
Well, I like to start off with to start off in the beginning process. I mean, I select tobacco that I think is going to work within where I want to get to, and I always tell people also. A lot of people, I think, approach blending from what I've, heard as, very technically oriented because they've got, that knowledge and background and stuff. But I approach it on more using my creative side brain. I think because of the graphic design and stuff like that, and being a novice still and things of this nature, I kind of like, I kind of just see the vision first and worry about the technical aspects, later, and leave that up to the factory. But, so I approach it in that way. And then, I select, the leaves that I want in the blend that I think are going to work. And a lot of times I'm wrong. But, I'm very, very patient. I think you have to be very, very patient in what we do here. And
There's a lot of trial and error to find out what you want.
A lot of trial and error, a lot of frustration. It's kind of like golfing with leaves. So, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, you got to be really, really patient. And then, I like to start off with, small ring gauges, to begin, like, even under Robusto size, because I feel that you get, a good taste for the blend in that manner, since you're, for me anyway, that's what I do.
So tell us about some of your other blends that you've produced.
The other blend is the core line so far, which is where we started. That has, that's a little bit more of a medium blend. It's all Nicaraguan, but it's got a Habano Rosado wrapper on it. Mm-hmm. It's kind of interesting. That's the core blend. It's in a Robusta size, torpedo size, 660, and the little Habanitos, which
hold those up for the camera. You're on camera now.
Yeah. That's this one. These are little this is a 4x38, and people love these for like break time or lunchtime, kind of smokes. They're really tasty. A lot of people think that they're short filler, but they're not. They're long filler, and they've got a lot of flavor on these. These are like little spice, flavor bombs. I highly recommend those for when you want like a quick hit. They're really good, and we're gonna be doing like some new packaging with these. I can't really reveal what we're gonna do yet, but we're gonna be doing something very special with these in the next month or two, and we're gonna see these do something really really cool. Um, and that's the core line that we have, and if you want to talk about things that we're gonna be looking at to
I'm sorry.
release.
So what sizes do the core line come in?
The 4x38, which is that little habanito size, a straight up robusto size, torpedo, and a 660.
So it's pretty standard now that every manufacturer has to include a 660. Is that true?
I think it's getting to be that way, man. To be to be honest, I mean the market is just dictating it.
What do you think drives that?
I think the simple equation of getting the most, the average consumer, I think, wants to have the most tobacco for his price, for the price.
It's perceived value, right?
It's perceived value, man. It's like when you go into Costco, into any of these places. That's what it is.
I think it's when they want something big in their hand.
Yeah.
Oh,
I can't comment on that.
since I haven't got anything big, maybe that's it. I don't know.
Oh.
I can't
Size
comment.
matters
It's
here.
8 I know, 8 inches wide. What are you gonna do?
So Will, did you have questions for Antonio? I saw that you had in your list some of his sticks that you, well, at least one that you smoked this week as well.
Yeah. Actually, thanks, Paul. So, Antonio, to start off with the Grand Empire Reserve line, this is what I've noticed, and this has been really pronounced. I've smoked now all four of the sizes, and they're all really their own story. I mean, they're not just like taking they just all smoke different, and that's a positive. Were those things that you set out to do when you were starting to experiment with different sizes to expand the line?
Yeah, it's funny you should ask that. That was definitely the drive and the intention. It's like when I started to expand the line, to do the line extensions, I wanted there to be a common thread and denominator, in the background for each of the sizes, but I wanted them to have a little bit of their own character as well, Will. So I think what you're saying is really what we wanted definitely to do, and I'm glad that a person like you is definitely noticing that. I mean, because that's kind of where we wanted to take it.
No, I appreciate that. Appreciate that. Now, one thing that I've also noticed is we talked at the show, and I think you mentioned next year is the 5-year anniversary of the company.
Yeah.
You've never felt pressure to put something new out every year and put out a new blend every year. You've kind of grown this thing, I say, slow and organically. Is that something also that you've been cognizant of?
Yeah, that's correct. I've said from day one, I think that back in New Orleans when we launched, I wanted to grow and expand, in a very conservative and methodical way. I mean, I don't release anything that I don't think is ready, and I think that builds a stronger foundation for the brand and for myself as well, because I'm still learning a lot. So I don't want to have the brand diluted by releasing something that's I think is under par for the brand and for the vision. So that's always my intention, to have something that's released when I think it's ready, and when I get feedback at that yeah, we've got something here.
Go ahead, Will.
So when we talked at the show, you mentioned the 60 ring gauge. Was that the case? What happened with the 60 ring gauge is you felt it wasn't ready yet to go out?
Yeah, the 60 ring gauge was totally not where we wanted it to be, and I was asked why wasn't it at the show, and where is it going to be, and all this kind of stuff, and I just keep telling people it's not ready, and it needs some work. We're still working at it at the factory, but it'll be coming. So we're going to be there now in like 2 months, so you'll see the release, because now I think it's ready. Now I think we have something, but to bring it out, but before it's done, I would have gotten, I think, some reactions that it wasn't. So why rush it?
Yeah, good point.
Antonio, how much do you tweak your blends for the different sizes?
I tweaked them quite a bit. I mean, it's almost like for me, it's almost like reblending all over again. I kind of start from square one all over again. I try to treat it like that's the most difficult for me, I think. Coming up with a totally new blend, I think, is easier than extending a line with different vitolas and getting it to where I want. So the process becomes rigorous again, and I would say it's extremely difficult.
What's your strategy for keeping things consistent, given all the environmental changes that happen with weather and plants, and the tobacco being slightly different?
I don't think there really is any strategy for me. Like, there's no formula as far as I can, there's nothing that I have written down. I like, again, like I said before, I go by instinct, I go by taste, palate, and I let things, I create a bunch of batches and sets that I have, and then, we're at the factory, we let those sit, and then we retry them again after a certain time, and then if not, we reblend. So it's really just like trial and error, and keep going and just keep reblending.
When you're sampling, especially for blending, what's the kind of flavor wheel you keep in your mind? Do you relate things more to the taste that you get when you have something to drink, or taste when you get something to eat, or smell, or God forbid something like leather, like who eats leather? So how do you keep all that straight in your head when you're blending specifically?
Um, I just kind of let my senses guide me. I go by all the senses, obviously, like everybody else, but I think that my taste senses dominate a little bit. So I go more, if you will, I go more by that a little bit, and I retrohale a lot, so that would be secondary, the sense of smell.
I tell people all the time about the retrohale. Some people get it, and some people don't. I think it's super
key.
important.
So do
For
I.
you as a blender, Antonio, to say, I retrohale a lot because, and I think that speaks to how important, that really is.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
when Stogie Santa was talking before the show about the retrohale on this particular Petite Lancero, I totally agree.
Oh, it changes the smoke entirely.
Yeah, for the bet. I mean, for the bet, a lot better. It's positive, very positive what it does.
Yep.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, yeah.
And the question I got for you, Antonio, is that once you get your core line down to where you want it, and one of the, I think, consistency could help is inventory. Is that something you're going to try to keep a lot of to keep that consistency close as you can?
That's correct. Our inventory has really, grown since we first started, and we definitely are keeping more of that on hand as we become more successful, as we see the blends take off. We're definitely ramping for that.
Right. Cool.
So there's a couple of different strategies when it comes to limited release cigars. Some manufacturers will release a limited, and it's a one and done kind of thing. We're releasing 10,000 cigars, and that's all we'll ever produce with this particular brand. Then there are other manufacturers that are going to bring back a limited cigar maybe every year, maybe every other year, maybe every 3 years.
Right.
What's your strategy on that? If you were to do a limited cigar, which strategy would you choose and why?
Well, the Petit Lancero is a limited cigar, so so we could talk about that one.
Like a true limited, right? Like you're only producing so many, and then that's it.
Right. I mean, that was the intent. I mean, I'm getting a lot of requests to like keep some more stock in there, and we'll take a look at it. But
Right, that's the hard part, right? When you come up with that true limited, people go, I really want it. I want more of it.
I know. So the intent was to make the series a limited number, and then come out with something tweaked for next year on that one. So, I mean, we'll see what happens, because you never know in this business what's going to happen. But that's the intent for that.
Now, don't you find it much more of a challenge to do a Petite Lancero like this to blend as opposed to a 660 because of the amount of tobacco in the cigar?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it really is. That's why I find
You got less to play around with.
Well,
yeah.
that's when that's when your palate and your creativity really has got to come in, because you're limited on what you can do.
Yeah. Yeah, this we did a lot of work on that Petit Lancero, and I was very, very happy with the result. I mean, I sleep with a box of those under my pillow. So, so I'm very happy where that ended up, and I'm glad you guys are enjoying it.
So, Antonio, with your background, have you done the designs for all your boxes and bands?
Oh, absolutely,
Nice.
absolutely. I created the logo, and I do all my graphics, website, all my marketing materials. That's one of the strengths that I have, and something that saves me a lot of money too.
I was going to say, save you
Yeah.
some money from having to pay the graphics designer, right?
Right.
A lot, yeah. I do the T-shirts.
Paul and I can attest to that,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
Antonio, where'd the name Renato come from?
Oh, that's a good question, Paul.
Yeah, that's a great question. Oddly enough, that came to me while I was driving to a location in my car. I mean, I'm Cuban Chinese, so I speak fluent Spanish, and I was raised speaking Spanish in my house. So, I was looking for something that was larger than life, something that was classic, and it was kind of like a fine line because I wanted it to translate, for for a really, really big meaning, something that meant royalty, but it wasn't cliche, and something that would be like, 10 years, 20, 30 years down the line, it wouldn't go away, and it would hold a lot of value. And
Is that what it translates to in Spanish? Forgive my ignorance.
what it translates to in Spanish is Reinado is the time that a figurehead, a ruler, reigns in their time.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Paul kind of stole my thunder on that one, so I'm going to ask the second question, Antonio.
Sure.
Yeah, the AL and ML on it, right to the. If I'm facing the band up to me, as you can see, to the right. What do those two letters stand for?
That's Latin for the end of the world. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
That's okay, as long as I get a cigar and burb, let it go.
No, those are my initials and my son's initials.
Cool.
Nice.
All right.
Nice.
That's that family man. Good for you.
Yeah.
I got it. See, now all that's not lost.
So, Antonio, what do you have coming out next? What are you working on that you're getting ready to release?
Well, coming out, there's 3 parts to that one, and that's a good. Thank you for asking. The first part is the 660 is finally coming out, and I have one of those here in the Grand Empire Reserve blend. Also going to be coming out in a 10 count. That's here. That's unbanded right now, but we're going with a Parejo format. I feel that it's ready. And this is it. I think this should do well for 660 smokers. It's got a lot of flavor in here. Really well balanced now, and it's right where it should be.
So, what's the price point roughly? I know it's going to differ.
This is going at 11. Manufacturer suggested retail.
Okay.
Right. So that's the first thing that's going to be releasing, and then we're working on the Grand Empire Reserve Connecticut wrapped.
Mm-hmm.
We're using a nice, delicious Connecticut wrapper in there. It's got a lot of flavor. I had it the other day. We're still in the prototyping phase. We're still testing it out, but I wanted to go after and start experimenting with an earlier afternoon smoke and something that was not quite as heavy as the Grand Empire Reserve. This is the Grand Empire Reserve blend with the Connecticut wrapper, and I feel that it's going right in the right direction of where it needs to be.
So is this something you'd smoke in the morning with coffee, or are you blending it as more of a medium-bodied Connecticut, which seems to be more of the trend lately?
Yeah, it's definitely more medium. It's not light at all. But it's very smooth and very extremely flavorful. I mean, I was like in the bakery I had the feeling of like the bakery the other day with this thing. And it just produced a lot of good smoke, and the flavor held out all the way throughout. Very, very rich, which is something I try to keep in the Grand Empire Reserve blend, that feeling of the rich flavors coming through that, dense, rich flavors, which I think William, wrote up about that on some of my critiques on his site, cigarcoop.com. So I feel that we can achieve something. It's going in the right direction with this Connecticut, And I'm excited about that. I mean, we're also doing something, looking to do something interesting with the packaging. Not so much the looks of the packaging. I can't say exactly what it is, but the way we are going to package this particular Connecticut is something to look out for. Definitely.
I'll tell you what helps this reserve that we're smoking tonight. It's not too chewy, perfect draw. You know, it enhances the smoke, as Mark unfortunately can't taste. But
Thank you.
no, I just don't. To me, I don't like a loose draw. I guess that's arbitrary to different people. Some people like that big mouth of smoke.
That's a great question that we really haven't asked a lot of the blenders that have come on the show. Antonio, when you make your cigars, what's your goal for kind of the draw, right? Because people have different, like Stogie Santa and I may be slightly different as to what we like. I may like a little looser draw. Stogie Santa may like a little snugger draw. Some people may struggle with either end of the spectrum. So where do you kind of want to land with the draw on your cigars?
That is a good question. I myself like a little bit of a snug draw.
Exactly.
Me too.
Me too.
That's what I like.
Yeah, that just makes you want to work for the flavor. It just enhances
Exactly.
it. Oh, it does.
Yep.
There's a major player in the market that everyone loves. I mean, Liga. Everyone loves that big chewy smoke. That's fine. I mean,
Huge plumes of
I'm not
smoke,
right. Use plumes of smoke. That's fine. And you like that. That's fine. As long as you're smoking a cigar, that's all I say.
Right.
But with something like this here, this kind of drawer is where you want to be. It reminds me of the Corona Gorda we have.
Okay, good. Yeah, that's kind of like where I always like when I find like a really loose draw, it kind of, I mean, it's better than having a tight draw, but still, when you have a very loose draw, for me, it's not adequate.
No. Nope.
I think it washes the flavor away.
Yeah.
I'm just not a
Yeah,
huge,
that's an interesting point. Yeah.
Yeah, it
not
does.
a huge favorite that's
No.
super loose. It's just
I think you get a hot burn. You'll get a hot burn too.
Yeah, oh, yeah,
Yeah.
Loose,
yeah. Oh, absolutely. You got to blow through it just to calm it down.
Yeah.
So, Antonio, do you do you experiment with kind of different sizes? I know there's a lot of manufacturers out there, right, that they come up with the barber pole wrapper, double-ended torpedo, baseball bat size. Are you playing with any kind of different sizes that may come to market?
I'm playing around with a couple of sizes. I don't want to say that I'm really getting too extreme right now, only because I like to keep things in a traditional manner, because I think that once you hone it down and get it, correctly in a traditional manner, then you can move on and do other things. Again, to Will's point of, I don't rush things, and I don't, go too out of control, because, I feel like you have to have a solid base, and
I'll tell you, the back nine of this cigar is really good.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's my little cliche.
I
but
love the
really-
retrohale on it. Yeah,
It
I
really
agree
is.
with that.
No, I mean, this is my pet peeve and my questions. That's my background. On your quality control, what kind of systems or what do you have in place in your factories, Antonio?
Well, we have some outstanding, highly rated rollers that are working over there in the Condega factory. They've been with the factory for years, like over 10 years, I think, and they work very well together. We've got great supervision in place. We've got the draw masters. We've got I believe like 3 right now. So those factors really helped, I think, to keep our quality control up. I mean, the draw. As far as I'm concerned, and we've worked really closely to make sure that we're working in a consistent manner, and I think we are from the feedback that we get, and I'm constantly like opening up boxes and talking to retailers, talking to consumers about, hey, how does that taste? How does that draw? Because I want to be always involved in the end product and what's going on. I want to hear from people what they're thinking, how it is, and so far so good, thank God.
Good, continuous improvement. Good for you.
Thank you.
So, Antonio, how's your distribution going? Are you focusing on different areas, or the areas of growth? You looking for mostly brick and mortar, some online, that kind of thing?
I would say that I'm looking more towards the brick and mortar stores. At this recent trade show in Las Vegas, we picked up a lot of new accounts, which I'm happy about. Brick and mortar, we're working very closely with them, and Not so much online, you know. I want to develop, and I've said it again since day one, a very healthy relationship and close relationship with brick and mortars across the country because, they're our bread and butter. They're what makes this industry, I think, and we look to stay tied to them.
Very good. So what's your vision for the future, Antonio?
Vision for the future in terms of products that we're
Yes.
going to be releasing. Well, as we were talking with Will before, we're looking to bring out a blend that we're currently working on for the 5th anniversary. I predict that it will be only one size, just like when we released the Grand Empire Reserve. I predict that it will be in you know low count packaging, maybe 10 count, maybe 12 count. It's going to be really special what we're going to do with it in terms of packaging, but again, not this lucrative high end packaging, because again, one of the rules I learned early on is that you can't smoke the box.
Right.
So
It's called. There's a cliche the Chinese use. It's called value added. What you can do, like you're saying, you're not smoking the box, you're not smoking the bin. People most of the general public are not gonna pay the extra amount of money for a fancy label and a fancy box.
It'll catch
Exactly.
their eye. It'll catch their eye.
Yeah.
And you may put it in their hand once, but the box won't sell
Good
it
for
to
you.
them the second
Good for you,
time.
Antonio.
right.
So, Antonio, outside of your own blends, what's some of your favorite cigars to smoke?
Wow, that's a good question. Right off the bat, I'll say Illusion.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I love what Dion does. Products he puts out are great. I mean, those little the Rothschild smokes are really good, and
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
his Epernay line is really special too. I mean,
Have you had the MK Ultra?
I have.
Those are good too.
Yeah,
I like those.
I like that.
Excellent.
La,
Really,
the La Petite. Oh.
Yeah, the little one.
Yeah.
really tasty. So, I think he's really making some really delicious blends, and I respect him a lot. Who else am I? Well, obviously, Pete Johnson, does really good stuff. We don't need to talk about him.
No, that's good. Next.
That speaks for himself. Yeah, it speaks for himself.
But we said, there's a couple of ones that he's come out with this year that have been real home runs for
Yep.
him. So
yeah, and there's a lot of a couple of new guys also that are doing some really good stuff. I can't remember right off the bat. I mean, maybe you guys will suggest something, but those are just a few that I enjoy.
So who do you admire most in the industry?
Wow, admire most, and then I don't know if there's any one particular person. I will say Jonathan Drew is one of those guys on my list. I admire what he did and the way he did it. Really put in his time and really made some sacrifices out there. Dion as well. Again, I think he did it right, and he's got some good working methods out there.
Very cool. Did anyone else have questions for Antonio?
No, I'm pretty well.
I had
set.
another one.
Go ahead, Will.
So you were talking about the working with the Connecticut wrapper. I've heard from a lot of people that when you start blending with Connecticut, it's very challenging. What's your thoughts on that?
I agree. I agree with that. Connecticut is challenging. To marry up the Connecticut with the blend. We at first we had a couple of issues, but we worked through those, and I think now I'm finding it marries quite well with what we've been experiencing, what we've been prototyping with, but I don't think it's as difficult as some other wrappers that I've encountered out there.
What would be the hardest wrapper at the top of your head to work with?
Well, that Connecticut broadleaf we worked through a little bit was kind of challenging because it just created some problems for us. But we're looking for that in the future. I'd love to work with the Connecticut broadleaf wrapper. It's really, really tasty, but it's not something that I feel that is on the table right now. Right now, where we're focused is that 5th year anniversary, and also the this Connecticut that we're looking at.
And you said the Connecticut's going to be a extension of the Grand Empire Reserve line.
That's what it's looking like right now, because I feel that the marriage of the Grand Empire Reserve blend that is very flavorful, rich, and it's got a little bit of a kick on it. It's like medium to full with that Connecticut wrapper. That's it's like a lightweight. I think it marries it up real nice, and the fermenting that we're doing on it is right where it should be. So I think it can do well.
So I've heard an interesting thread that you've mentioned. So you started out with the core line, and then you built the Grand Empire Reserve off that core line.
Correct.
And now you're taking this third step where you're building the Connecticut off that Grand Empire Reserve. I think that's great. I kind of like that path you're taking with that.
Oh, thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, we're I think it went in the right manner with that. I think it the process worked itself out, and again, I feel like now it's time for this Connecticut to be introduced, and I find a lot of possibilities with it. So I'll be dying to get you guys some samples of those.
Oh, absolutely.
That would be fantastic.
Absolutely,
Yep.
yeah. Oh, and one last question, well, for me anyway, Phytolo-wise, what is your favorite size, Antonio?
Oh, my my favorite size.
Well,
my
one of your
size,
favorite size, how's that?
My favorite size is that Petit Lancero.
Yeah, I just love small.
Yeah.
It's a signature for everybody.
Yeah.
That blends. It just
I think it really packs in the flavor.
it packs in
Yeah.
the flavor.
Out of
It-
all
it
the other
really
sizes.
does. I mean, it's just like there's nothing wrong with a 660. It's just arbitrary, but the flavor is just intense. I kind of stupid question, but I had to ask.
No. I'm glad you did.
Yeah.
Antonio, thank you very much for appearing on the
a
Stogie Geek
great
Show.
night.
We look forward to all of your future cigar releases.
Thank you.
So thank you very much. And with that, we're going to take a short break and come back with our next segment. We've got a long list of smokes to talk about.
Yeah, we got some.
And we got another cigar that we're going to have on the show. We're going to hear more from Paul Joyle. It's going to be fantastic. Don't go anywhere. Before we go, I want to mention our sponsors, Mr. J. Havana Smoke Shop. I also want to say that you can go to oceanstatecigars.com for the fabulous J. Grotto series cigar. And I wanted to give a shout-out to the people in the chat room. ATL, Avalon Hawk, Parrot the Pete, which is Big Pete,
Big
and
Pete,
Stephen
yes.
Drew,
Mr. Drew.
all tuning in the live channel. Thank
What
you,
up,
everyone.
ATL?
We got some great loyal fans out there. I just want to
Absolutely.
thank all of them.
Yeah.
They're really
We
good.
don't do that often enough, and I wanted to thank everyone for watching
and
live.
for the people who download as well.
Yeah, Thursday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. You can watch us live, stogiegeeks.com/live. With that, we're going to take a short commercial break and come back with our Stogies of the Week.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks,
and
Antonio.
Thanks,
Night.
Antonio.
Antonio, thank you
Thanks
very
for the
much.
time.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Yeah.